it's gotten out of control in some ways, right? So I spend the most of my time, I think, just generally speaking, on process.
So today, we decided to follow a completely different model than we typically do on our Laws of Business Mastermind show. And we wanted to bring to you a roundtable format where you can get to know the inner workings of the brains of multiple multi-seven-figure law firm CEOs. Yes, and I choose my words very delicately there. Law firm CEO is very different than, I say tongue-in-cheek, an order-taking lawyer. I should probably stop saying that because I'm sure it could be misinterpreted. First, I want to go around the table like a traditional round table should be. Let's start with Craig Greening first. We're going to have Craig introduce himself. Then we'll go to Charlotte. Then we'll go to Derek. Just introduce yourself, your practice, where you're at, and why you're such a heavy hitter. I'm just kidding. You can leave out the last part.
Yeah, so I'm Craig Greening. I'm a criminal defense lawyer. I do federal and state criminal practice here in Texas. I have cases right now in Seattle, Washington, Louisiana. But we have offices in College Station and Waco, Texas. Looking to expand to 2 more cities in the next year. Yeah, since we got on with SMB, we've doubled our revenue, and that's just been in the last 9 months, I think. So very happy with the results we're getting, but very excited to be on this roundtable today.
Excited to hear your wisdom. I'm going to take notes on you, Craig. Next, we got Charlotte.
Hey, Bill, Charlotte Christian. I have a family law firm in Alabama. We've got offices in Birmingham and Huntsville. We're looking to scale through acquisition to at least 2 more states in the next 18 months. So kind of what we do all family law. And I guess since the beginning of COVID, I started really trying to scale up and running like a business. So I've spent a lot of time in coaching and feel very excited to be where we are. Thanks for having me here.
Absolutely. And Charlotte is one of the rare law firm owners who had almost 800% year-over-year growth, which is insane. And then we'll go to Derek Martin.
Hey, Bill. My name's Derek Martin. We have a traffic ticket and DUI law firm in Chicago. Our roots are in criminal defense, but we've really niched down to try to focus specifically on driving related issues. I've grown, probably doubled we have at least doubled in the last year. We're up to 17 people now, doing traffic tickets and DUIs for the most part. Yeah, I believe we provide a level of service that you just cannot find anywhere else in the market. And that is one of the main contributors to our growth.
I love that.
Not to mention, obviously, being in this group for the last year, that's helped too.
I appreciate that, Derek.
Yeah, you bet.
It's very interesting. As I always say, we attract the pre-motivated. So I wish I could take credit for it, but we tend to attract people who with or without meeting us would have been motivated either way, which is actually a recruiting tactic from one of my mentors is how do you find the pre-motivated? So I want to start with kind of just some roundtable questions for us. Feel free to chime in as you see fit. We can kind of softly go through the same circle we just went through with Craig starting. I'll start, then we'll go to Craig, then we'll go to Charlotte, Derek. If you guys don't want to contribute to one of them, that's fine. You can just say pass. And then we're just going to keep it running through roundtable fashion. The first thing that I wanted to go into was, where do successful CEOs spend their time? Okay, so that's kind of like the first open-ended question that I'd like to hear, everyone's belief on. I'll start, then I'll pass it to Craig, then we'll go around. For me, the question being, where do successful CEOs spend time? There's 3 things that always come to my mind, which I learned from a couple of my coaches. Number 1, which my belief shifted on this recently, is recruiting, right? If you can't recruit good people to your firm, then everything else stops, because you can't expand without human beings helping you. So recruiting. Number 2 is branding, right? And I specifically use the word branding because I think that branding is more valuable than marketing per se. So branding, in my opinion, makes all of your marketing easier, right? So branding makes your recruiting easier. Branding makes your lead generation easier. The more people that know you, the more people can flow you and do business with your practice. And the third area for me is always strategy. So recruiting, branding and strategy is what I always come back to. Craig?
Yeah, I think that I've had my own firm now for 11 years. And for the first probably about 8 to 9 years, I worked on trying to be the best lawyer in the state of Texas. But then I finally realized that it's not the best lawyer that gets all the cases, it's the best known lawyer. And so I started working on my business about 3 years ago. And you start seeing the leads come in. We went, just even last year, we were getting 25 to 30 qualified leads a month. And now we're getting 200 qualified leads a month, which was actually at your last seminar in Philadelphia. We set a boulder for 200 leads per month, and we already reached that. And I've only been 1 month out of the seminar. So so it's kind of crazy, but yeah, once you realize that marketing is super important, and you spend the money on it, and you get your name out there, and you get the brand awareness, the cases start coming in. And if you're a good lawyer, you're just going to capitalize on that. And obviously you got to have good lawyers working underneath you. I have one of the best female lawyers in the state of Texas. Her name's Sarah Wilkinson, and I've been really proud of her because her revenue has gone up 200% in just the past year. So she's capitalizing on our efforts to rebrand and get our name out there.
For me, I would say that I spend my time on sort of what Craig said on branding, but also building and developing the higher level relationships with people who I otherwise wouldn't have had as much time to spend if I was having to run the whole firm. So those higher level relationships, I think, are so very important. But I think spending the time to be very consistent with your marketing so that you've got your marketing going out every single day, it all has to start there. And I think that once you decide as a firm owner that that's where you're going to spend your time, that's where you're going to spend your money, the other pieces come. So if you put other people in place to manage and to run those areas and to sort of be team leaders, you've got to put people there that you trust. Once you do that, then you can keep the relationships going, keep the culture going. So I think the culture in your firm is the most important piece. So you can, one of the most important, there's so many important, but you can keep the culture going and keep the right people on board. I think that's the key.
Yeah, culture is such a vague concept, right? It's like, how do you? Maybe we'll do that as a separate follow-up question. Notice, guys, no one here is talking about legal work yet. Okay, Derek, go ahead.
Oh, my thunder. The two things that I would not spend my time in if you want to move from a lawyer to CEO is the first is the legal work, and the second one would be the sales and intake. I spent the first 4 years just running around like a madman at court as much as I possibly could, signing up clients in between. I mean, I did intake staff, but any sort of problem or any sort of problem, send it to me. Any sort of, oh, there's a good case, send it to me, right? Anything in between, send it to me, right? And so it was only until I tried to eat in here. I'm not in a suit and tie today, but some days of the week I might, right? And so I'm not entirely out of it. But once I decided to get out of the day-to-day of going to court, of dealing with clients, any client issues, and the day-to-day of getting out of intake and sales, everything really started to change. So then what do you spend your time on? These days, I'm like marketing, of course, branding. I agree with everything that everybody has said. But for me, now that we've grown to 17 people, it's like, it's gotten out of control in some ways, right? So I spend the most of my time, I think, just generally speaking, on process. The process of how we sign up those clients, the process of how we take payments, how they go into our CRM, how we handle the cases, how we work through a DUI case, how we ask them to write us a review afterwards. Like every single thing that I can think of has been documented and published internally as a process. And so now I get out of the day-to-day legal work, I get out of the sales and intake, and then when a question does come in, I say, check the process for that? And they go, well, no. right? And okay, go check that, right? And if they say, yeah, I did, and there's nothing wrong, I have no idea, we've never dealt with this before. Okay, let me jump in, let's fix it, let's write the process and let's be done, right? So that big picture is what at least I try to spend my time on. And I get pulled in 1,000 different directions. But if I got my eyes on that goal, I'm doing all right.
That's a really good point. And I was laughing because of and I saw Craig laughed a little bit and Charlotte smiled when we said, when you get past, like, even getting past the 10 team member mark is like, you can have a plan, but as Mike Tyson says, like, something's going to happen. Someone's going to leave. Someone's not going to deliver. Someone's going to be the wrong fit. So I chuckled there because what happened with us is as soon as we got past 10 team members, I felt a feeling that we could actually start letting go of people, because when you have like 3 team members, right, it feels like you can't really part ways with anyone because you need them. And if you get rid of them, it's like, you're just pretty much signing yourself up for more work. But once you get past the 10 employee mark, you can actually make cultural decisions. You can make decisions if someone's not a culture fit, if someone has a bad attitude, but is a high performer. For example, we actually, ended up parting ways with a very high performer in our company that was not a culture fit. And it hurt for a month. And then the month after, we attracted a really high level leader in our company that otherwise would have never been attracted to our company had this quote unquote gossiper been in our company, right? So things get worse before they get better, right?